Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet have officially called it quits. But if you think this is just another Hollywood breakup story, think again. Because what Khloé Kardashian just revealed turns the entire narrative upside down. The public explanation? Busy schedules. But insiders say that's only scratching the surface. Behind the scenes, emotions ran wild, secrets spilled, and what seemed like a glamorous romance quickly unraveled into chaos. And the reason Khloé is pointing the finger at Kylie might leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about their relationship. When the news first broke, the headlines all pushed the same explanation. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet had simply grown too busy to make it work. Hollywood schedules, international film shoots, business empires to run. On paper, it sounded like the cleanest breakup excuse possible. No drama, no mess, just life pulling two stars in different directions. But Khloé Kardashian wasn't having it. She claimed the story was far messier than what fans were being fed. According to her, Kylie wasn't ready to let go, not even close. In fact, Khloé says Kylie clung to that relationship with everything she had, terrified it would slip through her fingers. The moment Timothée confessed he wasn't ready for marriage, Kylie allegedly spiraled. Convinced this was her one last shot at securing an A-list partner. Khloé's version doesn't just paint Kylie as heartbroken. It suggests she was desperate. And in Hollywood, desperation doesn't stay hidden for long. It leaks, it spreads, and soon the whispers start. But those whispers weren't just about Kylie and Timothée's love life. They pointed to something much bigger. A harsh reality that Kylie has been running from for years. In Hollywood, reputations can be heavier than diamond rings, and Kylie's came with baggage she couldn't shake. Behind the glitz and glam, insiders whispered that no major star was eager to step into her world, a world filled with high drama, 2 kids, and the never-ending shadow of the Kardashian name. For Timothée, who built his career on artistry and selectivity, that weight grew impossible to ignore. And the cruelest twist? The breakup didn't come during some quiet moment or mutual conversation. It hit Kylie on her 28th birthday. Imagine expecting a celebration, blowing out candles surrounded by friends, only to be blindsided with a call that everything was over. That wasn't just bad timing, it was devastating. But according to those close to the situation, this wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. The cracks had been forming for months, carefully hidden behind Instagram-perfect photos and red carpet smiles. Fans saw polished outfits and glamorous appearances, but what they didn't see were the arguments, the distance, and the silent pressure building behind the scenes. And when Timothée finally pulled the plug, he did it on his terms. No Kardashian spin, no reality TV storyline, no staged paparazzi shots to soften the blow, just a clean, cold break. But if you thought that was the whole story, you'd be wrong, because what looked like a simple breakup was only the beginning of a much darker unraveling. To the outside world, Kylie and Timothée looked picture perfect, strutting red carpets, sharing subtle glances, and posting carefully curated snapshots that painted a fairy tale romance. But behind the polished images was a relationship quietly unraveling. Every dazzling public appearance was masking arguments, distance, and a pressure cooker of expectations that neither of them could escape. Insiders say it wasn't one explosive fight that tore them apart, but a slow erosion that started months before. Kylie tried to hold everything together, but Timothée was already pulling back. The chemistry that once felt electric in front of flashing cameras began to fizzle when the lights went off. By the time her birthday arrived, the romance was already on life support. For Timothée, ending things wasn't just about timing, it was about survival. He wanted to reclaim control of his life before the Kardashian machine turned him into another supporting role in their endless soap opera. And that's what makes this chapter so striking. The split wasn't about love suddenly vanishing. It was about 2 people living in 2 very different worlds, one built on constant performance and the other craving authenticity. And as the cracks deepened, Timothée realized he wasn't just breaking up with Kylie, he was breaking away from the entire Kardashian circus. But if you thought he left quietly, you'd be mistaken, because what came next was a direct clash with the spotlight itself. For Timothée, the spotlight was supposed to be selective. Premieres, film festivals, and interviews tied to his craft. But with Kylie, it became a non-stop performance. Every dinner turned into a photo op, every outing was staged for Instagram, and every quiet moment risked being leaked to the press. What should have been private love quickly morphed into a public storyline. Friends of the actor say he began to feel more like a prop than a partner. The Kardashian playbook demanded coordinated red carpet stunts, paparazzi-friendly brunches, and rehearsed Instagram posts. posts. To some, it looked glamorous. To Timothée, it was suffocating. His career had been built on artistry, not theatrics, and suddenly he was trapped in a script he never agreed to. People in his circle even asked the obvious question, why Kylie? Because dating her didn't just mean being with Kylie Jenner, it meant inheriting the chaos that came with her name. And slowly, Timothée realized the price of that chaos was his own freedom. But the real turning point wasn't just about Kylie's spotlight, it was about the force behind it, the one pulling the strings, setting the stage, and pushing every move to fit the Kardashian empire's master plan. Behind every Kardashian headline is one constant force, Kris Jenner. And according to insiders, she had big plans for Timothée. From the very beginning, Kris allegedly pitched the relationship as a win-win. Hollywood prestige for Kylie, and a brand new wave of mainstream attention for him. To Kris, it wasn't just love, it was strategy. But Timothée wasn't buying it. Friends say the more Kris tried to fold him into the Kardashian empire, the more resistant he became. She reportedly suggested reality show cameos, staged couple photos, and even cross-brand collaborations, all designed to make Kylie and Timmy the ultimate power couple. Instead of being flattered, he drew a hard line. And that's when the cracks deepened. Sources claim that once Timothée rejected Kris's offers, the tension inside the relationship spiked. Kylie wanted him to play along. Kris pushed harder, but Timothée refused to become another character in the family's carefully managed narrative. For a family built on controlling the story, his refusal wasn't just stubborn, it was dangerous. It threatened the very image they'd spent years perfecting. And that's where things shifted from romance to something much bigger. A full-blown clash of values that neither side could back down from. At its core, this breakup wasn't just about distance or timing, it was about two people living by completely different codes. On one side was Timothée, fiercely protective of his privacy, obsessed with craft, and determined to stay authentic in an industry that rewards spectacle. On the other side was Kylie, whose entire world revolves around perception, metrics, and the constant need to stay relevant. Even the simplest moments highlighted that divide. Timothée wanted quiet nights, dinners away from cameras, and private conversations that stayed private. Kylie, fueled by Kris and her PR machine, turned every outing into an event. Paparazzi tipped off in advance, outfits coordinated for the perfect shot, Instagram-ready captions waiting before dessert was even served. At first, Timothée tried to adapt, but the weight of living in a manufactured storyline crushed him. The quiet artist in him clashed with the influencer empire Kylie was born into. Every month, the tug-of-war grew heavier, one side pulling for peace, the other pulling for performance. Insiders say that by this stage, the relationship wasn't about love anymore. It was a silent battle of principles. Timothée refused to surrender his authenticity, while Kylie clung to the image of a perfect power couple, and eventually, that battle could only end one way. But the real breaking point, the moment Timothée decided he'd had enough, was about to hit. And it shook the Kardashian empire more than anyone expected. By the time the cracks had widened, Timothée wasn't just stepping back, he was shutting the door. He began skipping red carpets, refusing joint appearances, and flat out rejecting any attempt to be dragged into the Kardashian spotlight. The once smiling boyfriend who played along for the cameras was gone, replaced by someone determined to take back control of his life. Kris Jenner, insiders say, was furious. Every rejection wasn't just a personal slight, it was a threat to the carefully crafted empire she had built. She reportedly tried every trick in the book: soft persuasion over private dinners, promises of brand growth, even emotional appeals to do it for Kylie. But Timothée wouldn't budge. That defiance didn't just frustrate Kris, it rattled the entire family. For Kylie, the tension was unbearable. She wanted to preserve the glossy image of a perfect couple, but Timothée's resistance made it impossible. What she saw as a future, he saw as a trap. And that's when everything collapsed. The relationship wasn't undone by a single fight, but by a relentless pressure cooker that finally exploded. For Timothée, there was no middle ground left. The only escape was a clean break. But the aftermath wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about liberation, and the fallout that left the Kardashians scrambling. When the dust finally settled, the breakup didn't feel like heartbreak. At least not for Timothée. Those close to him say it was more like breathing for the first time in months. No more staged photo ops. No more scripted reality arcs. No more pressure to fit into a family empire built on filters and headlines. For him, walking away wasn't loss. It was freedom. Meanwhile, Kylie was left facing a very different reality. Instead of the perfect love story she wanted the world to see, she was suddenly painted as desperate, clinging to a man who wanted out. The whispers around Hollywood only grew louder, that her baggage was too much, that no A-list star wanted to risk being swallowed by the Kardashian machine. And yet, for Kris Jenner, the fallout stung the most. She had seen Timothée as the ultimate prize, a chance to merge Kylie's empire with Hollywood prestige, to create the kind of power couple that could dominate headlines for years. Losing him wasn't just a breakup, it was a brand hit. For Timothée, the path forward looks clear. Back to authenticity, back to artistry, back to the craft that made him a star. For Kylie, the future is more uncertain. Will she find someone willing to embrace the circus? Or will this breakup mark the start of her biggest image battle yet? One thing's certain. This wasn't just a romance gone wrong. It was a showdown between two worlds, and only one walked away unscathed. In the end, this breakup was never just about two people falling out of love. It was a collision of lifestyles, a clash between Hollywood prestige and the Kardashian publicity machine. Timothée Chalamet chose his freedom, his craft, and his authenticity over the suffocating weight of a manufactured storyline. Kylie Jenner, on the other hand, is left to pick up the pieces, balancing her public image, her family's demands, and the whispers that follow her every move. The question now isn't just whether Kylie can bounce back from this split. It's whether the Kardashian empire itself is starting to lose its grip on controlling the narrative. For years, they've dictated the storylines, but this time, Timothée refused to play along. And in doing so, he may have exposed the cracks in their carefully built empire. So what do you think? Did Timothée escape just in time? Or did he walk away from something real? Drop your thoughts below, because this is one Hollywood story that might only just be getting started.